Lately, after Tom takes a bath, there are white threads floating in the bathtub. When asked about it, he just avoids the question. The night before Tom went on a business trip, he gave me some aromatherapy oil that was said to help with morning sickness. Following the instructions Tom gave me, I used it every night until severe pain in my lower abdomen forced me to call an ambulance. At the maternity clinic, after explaining the situation, the doctor started shaking. The aroma was dangerous for both the mother and the baby. Suspecting Tom's infidelity, I called his office and found out he had taken the day off matching the days Alice did. I went to Alice's apartment and waited in the car. Across the street, I saw Alice and Tom approaching. "I'm looking forward to start living with you soon. If this plan works, we can send Mina back to her parents. If she loses the baby and becomes emotionally unstable, it wouldn't seem odd for us to separate. It's her fault for getting pregnant when I don't even like kids." I buried my face in the steering wheel and sobbed. Eventually, I lifted my face and swore revenge on Tom and Alice. I'll never forgive them. I am Mina, a 40-year-old housewife. I met Tom through work and married him 5 years ago. Tom works for a major corporation. He is a rank-and-file employee but is serious about his work and earns a good salary. Recently, I finally became pregnant. I am looking forward to meeting our baby as I look at the ultrasound pictures. But lately, I've been unbearably anxious. Something about Tom is off. Eventually, I realized Tom's true nature and was chilled to the bone. I became close to Tom when I was assigned to his team at a subsidiary company. Tom, not one to vigorously tackle work, was adored by his boss and loved by his colleagues and juniors. Since I am bad at communicating and slow to open up to others, I admired Tom. So when he asked me out, I seriously wondered what he saw in me. When he proposed, I bravely asked why, and he answered with a gentle smile. "You seem modest and obedient. And I like your looks." Since I didn't like myself being petite and baby-faced, I was surprised but felt happy. After asking Tom's boss to mediate, we got married. The first year passed without issues, thanks to our honeymoon phase. However, as we entered the second year, I started to struggle with balancing work and household chores. Tom, having forgotten his promise to share the household chores, started dumping them all on me. "I understand it's hard since you also works full-time, but I can't relax in a messy house." I was perplexed by Tom's complaints. I kept up with the dishes and laundry. I just couldn't vacuum daily, leaving some dust in the corners. I wipe with a cleaning sheet every day. It's a condo, so vacuuming early in the morning or late at night would be a nuisance.
Yeah.
I get it. But I like cleanliness. This makes me uncomfortable. Yet, Tom's study was always a mess. Told not to enter, I only peeked from the hallway. The sight of his cluttered room, filled with empty snack bags, empty cans of drinks, and car magazines, was startling. His tidy workplace desk was likely due to his concern for appearances. Tom's complaints continued. Lately, the meals have been lackluster, too. Just reheating prepared food. I want freshly made meals, but this is no different from store-bought side dishes. I couldn't believe my ears. I prepared the meals on my days off, and he compares them to store-bought side dishes. You know what? It's impossible to work full-time, keep the house spotless, and always have fresh meals ready without hiring a maid. Then why don't you quit your job? Tom said this with a cool expression. But, I mean, you could just become a housewife. I'll work to support us. A wave of anxiety washed over me. It might be fine with just the two of us, but what about when we have a child? Would we have enough for education costs? As I hesitated to answer, Tom looked into my face and smiled gently. I'm just worried about you, Mina. It hurts to see you exhausted every day. Tom. Please, become a housewife for me. I took pride in my work. It was a good environment. And I wanted to continue until retirement if possible, but I didn't want to worry Tom. After much deliberation, and despite my colleagues and boss regretting my departure, I resigned. I've been shy since I was a child, taking time to warm up to others. However, once I become friends with someone, I maintain a deep and long-lasting relationship. Therefore, I vowed to always cherish Tom, whom I had connected with. Tom did cherish me. However, as soon as I became a full-time housewife and we started living on Tom's earnings, he began to show a domineering attitude towards me. The orthopedic clinic's doctor changed? Yes, it used to be a female doctor. When I went there after a long time, her son in his 20s was examining me. He took over as the head doctor because his mother retired. When I mentioned going to the clinic after twisting my ankle, Tom showed his displeasure. Then stop going there. Switch to a clinic in the next town where a female doctor works. But they told me to keep coming until it's completely healed. No. He raised his voice unusually. Just the thought of you getting your leg touched by a young man makes me sick. You're okay with that? I was surprised by Tom's words. It's a doctor's examination, it can't be helped. There are other doctors. Switch to the one in the next town. Otherwise, I'll stop giving you money for the visits. Since Tom dislikes it, I changed to a hospital in the next town. I laughed to myself at his jealousy, but it gradually became no laughing matter. The next complaint from Tom was about my regular hair salon. When I mentioned that my stylist was on maternity leave and I'd be switching to a male stylist, Tom sneaked off to the salon and then started nitpicking. That guy is not good at his job. Paying $50 for such a haircut is a ripoff. Why don't you change to someone else? I was taken aback, but calmly explained. That's the going rate around here. He's well regarded among my acquaintances. What? He's just gathering popularity with his looks. He must be making moves on his clients. Don't say that. He has a wife and kids. Then it's cheating. Tom sneered. Just thinking of him touching your hair with those sleazy hands makes me so frustrated I can't sleep at night. What? It's just a haircut. Stop making a fuss. Though I argued back, because he was so persistently annoying. I eventually switched to another salon. Eventually, Tom even started to criticize me for going out too much. It's strange for a housewife to be out and about all the time. You should devote yourself more to your husband. What's that about? I'm doing the household chores properly. I didn't quit my job just to be cooped up at home. Hey, I want to go back to work. I think I could manage with a part-time job. No. Tom rejected the idea outright. The household chores will be neglected for sure. I'm providing for you, so what are you unsatisfied with? I was speechless at Tom's frowning face. When I consulted with my university friend Taylor, who works in the HR department at Tom's workplace, she was equally astonished. Tom listens to our opinions at work and doesn't display any disdain towards women. But in private, he's like that, huh? He waves his male superiority around, causing me trouble. But I don't want to fight with Tom, and since he doesn't verbally abuse me, I'm not sure what to do. While drinking coffee at a cafe, I sighed. If it gets any worse, tell me. I'm on your side, Mina.
Yeah.
Thank you. Although I smiled in response, I gradually became reluctant to go out and eventually spent my days in a gloomy mood. One day, after feeling unwell for a while, I tried a pregnancy test and it turned out positive. I involuntarily exclaimed in the bathroom. I was so happy I cried, having almost given up due to my age. When Tom came home and I told him, his cheeks stiffened for a moment before he forced a smile. Really? I can't believe it. Me neither. I'll go to the doctor tomorrow to get it checked. I'll make sure to choose a place with a female doctor. When should we tell my parents? Let's wait until I enter a stable period. Right. We don't know yet if everything will be okay. I felt uneasy at Tom's words, but it was the truth. For now, I decided to focus on giving birth to a healthy baby. However, contrary to my excitement, Tom didn't seem to welcome the pregnancy. He had said he was not fond of children and had agreed to give up if we couldn't conceive naturally. But I had hoped his feelings would change once we had our own child. People say they don't like kids, but they love their own, I've heard from many around me. So, I casually brought up the topic every day, hoping to make the pregnancy feel more real to him. Run, show Ruby. Modern names are stylish, aren't they? I heard gender-neutral names are in trend. I kept talking to Tom, who was absorbed in his phone. What kind of names do you like, Tom? Can't you see I'm busy? I'll leave it up to you. I couldn't hide my disappointment at his dismissive attitude. On another day. You're taking a day off soon, right? There's a prenatal checkup that day. Let's go together. What's the point of a man going? It's got nothing to do with me. I felt my cheeks stiffen. It's strange for a father to say, it's got nothing to do with me. With a half smile, he continues. I'm not good with horror movies. So I'm not going to be in the room when you give birth, okay? I was deeply disappointed by his inappropriate comparison. Here I was, preparing to give birth, risking my life. Yet, as I struggled with morning sickness, I didn't have the energy to complain to Tom. The nausea, sleepiness, and fatigue made it nearly impossible to stand in the kitchen or do any cleaning. It wasn't unusual for me to spend the day slumped on the sofa. I worried about Tom's complaints, but given my frequent trips to the bathroom, even he seemed hesitant to grumble. As I passed the hallway carrying laundry, I heard the shower running and remembered. Indeed, after Tom bathes, there are always white threads floating in the tub. These threads, thinner than hair and about 3 centimeters long, puzzled me. When I asked Tom, there was a brief silence followed by a wry smile and a shrug of his shoulders. That's just dirt. Mina, you've been slacking on cleaning the bath, haven't you? No, it's nothing like that. I can't quite explain it. All right. Let's try to clean more thoroughly, shall we? I felt brushed off, but wanting to avoid a fight, I decided not to pursue it further. However, not wanting to bathe in a tub with unknown objects floating in it, I opted to just take showers for the time being. The connection between Tom and the threads remained unclear. Could his recent increase in late nights and business trips be related somehow? One Friday, Tom approached me with a beaming smile. I've got a business trip to Osaka starting tomorrow. Sorry, Mina, especially with you struggling with morning sickness, for leaving you alone for a week. It's for work, it can't be helped. Take care, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got something nice. He handed me a stylish white box. Inside, there were 7 small bottles with black lids. Is this aroma oil?
Yeah.
It's supposed to help with morning sickness. Tom was excited. A colleague's wife tried it, and it seemed to help her appetite come back. Really? How do you use it? It's effective to drip it into the bathtub for an aroma bath. I asked how to use it and wrote it down here, so follow these instructions, okay? Not being fond of artificial scents, I had stayed away from aroma oils and incense. I was grateful Tom had noted down the instructions. As I read them, Tom sternly reminded me. Make sure to do it every day. It's for you and the baby's sake. Understood. Thank your colleague for me. From the day Tom left for his trip, I took an aroma bath every night. There were no white threads in sight, so I could relax in the bath. Let's see. 1 bottle per 200 liters of water? That's quite a lot. As I poured it into the tub, a sharp scent rose with the steam. It seemed relaxing and potentially beneficial for the baby as well. Though I didn't notice an immediate effect, by the time Tom returned from his trip, my appetite might be back. With that hope, I continued to use it, reaching the 5th day. During one bath, I suddenly felt a dull pain in my lower abdomen. Thinking it might be constipation, I didn't worry too much at first, but the pain intensified rapidly. Groaning in pain, I changed into my room clothes and called an ambulance. The thought that something might have happened to the baby was crushing. I informed them I was pregnant and requested to be taken to my regular maternity clinic. When I tried to explain the situation to the female head doctor, she grimaced. Did you put bath additives in the tub? I've been taking aroma baths. The doctor frowned. My husband got it from a colleague. It's supposed to help with morning sickness. Since we don't know the cause of the abdominal pain, I brought it just in case. After handing over the note Tom wrote and the bottle of aroma oil, the doctor's complexion changed, and she began to tremble. Doctor? Have you been using this daily, in a closed bathroom? Yes. After hesitating for a moment, the doctor spoke firmly. The herbs used in this aroma oil can cause uterine contractions. It's absolutely forbidden for pregnant women. There's a risk it could cause a miscarriage. I felt like everything went dark. It felt like I was going to faint, but I managed to stay conscious and urgently requested a checkup. Thankfully, the baby was safe. I was told my body would recover after some rest. I stayed in the hospital that night and took a taxi home the next morning. Even after returning, I couldn't believe what had happened. Following Tom's instructions, and to think, it nearly endangered the baby. Unable to quell my anger, I waited until Tom's lunch break to call his mobile phone. But all I got was the endless ringing of the call tone. Suddenly, an ominous premonition crossed my mind. His recent aloofness, the sudden increase in overtime and business trips, and now this incident. I've heard that it's not uncommon for husbands to cheat while their wives are pregnant. I decided to call Taylor, thinking she might know something. Sorry to bother you during your break, but... Taylor gasped on the other end of the phone. You're in a place with cell service, huh? What do you mean? I heard you were feeling unwell from morning sickness. And had gone back to your parents' house, somewhere with poor cell reception. I thought it was best not to bother you with messages since Tom was with you, taking care of you. I'm at home. What? What do you mean? I heard Tom was on a business trip to Osaka. I could hear Taylor sigh. He didn't want me to contact you. To hide his affair. That figures. Hey. Is there a female employee who took time off during the same period? Hold on. It's Alice from the accounting department. Want her address? Yes, please. My anger was greater than my shock. I was certain Tom was there. After hanging up, I drove to the address Taylor had given me. The morning sickness was blown away by my rage. I parked my car in a spot where I could see the front entrance of the apartment building. And waited for Tom and Alice to appear. My car was common enough that I wasn't worried about my stakeout being discovered. About an hour later, a couple holding hands appeared from across the street. Tom and a woman with flashy makeup. It must be Alice. Tom, carrying a heavy-looking eco bag, looked overjoyed. Knowing how much he had made me suffer, yet here he was. Blatantly cheating on me, my cheeks burned with anger. It feels like we're newlyweds. This is fun. Her shrill voice echoed through the street. I can't wait to start living with you, Tom. If this plan works out, we can send Mina back to her parents. It's tough to get a divorce, but separation should be doable. Alice agreed with the proud Tom. If she loses the baby and becomes emotionally unstable, a separation won't seem strange at all. You're so smart. It's her fault for getting pregnant even though I don't like kids. I remained stunned even after they disappeared into the apartment. Eventually, intense indignation surged up from within me. Before I knew it, tears were streaming down my face. I felt humiliated and pathetic. I was nauseous at the thought that I had trusted such a person. Burying my face in the steering wheel, I sobbed. Eventually, I lifted my face, clenched my teeth, and swore revenge on Tom and Alice. Tom and Alice. I'll never forgive them. 2 days later. In the afternoon, I took a leave of absence along with Taylor and headed to Alice's apartment. I waited outside the entrance hall to avoid being seen by the intercom camera. Hello? Oh, Taylor? What brings you here? When Taylor pressed the intercom, Alice responded immediately. Her syrupy voice was irritating. Weren't you supposed to finish up some documents at home? You left some materials on your desk. Alice fell for Taylor's lie easily. Oh no. How silly of me. Thank you. I'll come to pick them up right now. It's fine. I'll deliver it to your room. Really? Then, please. I'll buzz you in. Once the door was opened, we took the elevator up to Alice's apartment. To avoid being captured by cameras, I stayed back while Taylor called out to Alice. Shortly, the door opened, and there was Alice in a hair turban and lounge clothes. A midday shower, how luxurious. Maybe they had plans to cozy up together later. Taylor, I'm so grateful. You're always so dependable. Eek. Alice let out a sharp scream when I suddenly appeared. She tried to close the door, so I wedged my bag into the opening. Forced my hand through the gap, and pried the door open. Alice, resigned, let Taylor and me into the apartment. From a partially open door at the back of the room, I could hear Tom speaking in baby talk. We tiptoed down the hallway and peeped into the room to find Tom. In nothing but his underwear, lowering his eyes and brushing a long-haired cat. Andy, stay still, you're such a good boy. I'll give you a treat later. Your fur is so silky today, the most handsome cat in the world. Meow. I see. The white threads were from the white cat's fur. No wonder there were so many if he brushed it half naked. So, he hadn't even rinsed off before getting into the tub. Knowing I would bathe after him while I was pregnant. Ugh. That's gross. Anger boiled inside me as I saw Tom doting over the cat, apparently preferring it over our baby. The cat was the first to notice my spiteful gaze. It twitched and scurried away to a corner of the room in fear. Andy, what's wrong all of a sudden? Let's play with Daddy. Oh, when did you become a cat dad? Or did you get Alice pregnant too? Tom looked up in surprise as I entered the living room. Why? Tom, you've been careless. Tom looked startled as Taylor appeared from behind me. Right, Taylor is your friend. With a resigned sigh from Tom, Alice hugged him from behind. Tom, we got caught. It's okay, Alice. Leave it to me. His confident posture in just his underwear was comical, and I almost laughed despite the situation. How are you feeling, Mina? I've told you countless times how hard the morning sickness has been. No, I mean, if you were able to come here, then you must be fine, right? Alice interjected before I could respond. Didn't you use the aroma oil, dear? That's why both mother and child are healthy. Ah. Right. You should trust your husband more. Furious at Alice's smug smile and Tom's disappointed face, I was seething with rage. I did use it. I was so happy thinking Tom was concerned about my health. Then I was struck by severe pain and had to call an ambulance. I almost didn't make it. As I yelled, Alice cut in with her sickly sweet tone.
Aww.
Too bad. A baby that isn't wanted by daddy should just disappear. What? Do you even realize what you've done? You tried to take the lives of me and my baby. That's not true. Tom's smirk only fueled my fury further. It's weird to treat it like a person before it's even born. Plus, are you actually pregnant? You're just saying you're pregnant because you sensed I was cheating. And wanted to grab my attention, right? Exactly. The morning sickness is just an act, right? My brain feels like it's about to boil over as Tom and Alice laugh uproariously. I showed you the ultrasound photo. Maybe you borrowed it from another pregnant woman. Your belly is flat, so I can't trust you. It might be another man's baby. Enough from both of you. Even as Taylor scolds them, Tom and Alice continue to smirk. Well, even if it is my child, I don't want it. The word unwanted cuts deep. Don't do things without my permission. Making unnecessary trouble. Hey, why are you denying it so much? Do you hate the idea of becoming a father that much? Are you that bad with babies? When I question him, Tom frowns and retorts. Of course I hate it. Who's going to take care of me when the baby is born? Tom vents his dissatisfaction with me like a floodgate has opened. Mina, you were cute when we got married, but you've gotten ugly as you aged. And now with the pregnancy, it's unbearable. You've become skinny and pale, your skin is rough. Zero femininity. He points at me, screaming. How can you even call yourself my wife looking like that? Embarrassing. I shouldn't have married a 35-year-old woman. Well, Tom, you've gained weight and your hair's thinning. Turning into a fine middle-aged dad yourself. My words are completely ignored by Tom. And lately, all you talk about is the baby. Have you forgotten I'm the main priority? You're my wife, prioritize me. I don't care about the baby in your belly. I'm dumbfounded by his claim. He's like a child. If such a person becomes a father, it's clear that both I and my baby would be unhappy. Alice, who had been happily listening to Tom's tirade, counters. Tom prefers me, a young beauty, over a 40-year-old hag. I'm the right match for him. Right. Seems like any young and pretty girl would do for you. Taylor and I exchange glances and nod. Taylor then pulls out not documents, but photos from a large envelope she brought. Alice watches curiously as Taylor lays out the photos on the living room table. Tom's previously arrogant demeanor is gone, now replaced by an awkward expression. Alice, you know these girls, right? They all work in the same sales department as Tom. What's this? I've gathered evidence, audio clips. The fun is about to start. Hey, stop it. Ignoring Tom's weak protests, Taylor presses the play button on her phone. I'm dating Tom, but it's a secret from everyone else. Alice? She's a 28-year-old hag. He switched to a younger me. Tom told me Sarah is his ideal woman. We've been dating for 3 months. He's going to divorce soon, right? Tom said office romances are troublesome if found out, so it's our little secret. The hot spring trip during the business trip was so much fun. Alice's eyes widen in shock as Tom looks on in surprise. Taylor, how did you know I'm dating these girls? You applied for leave and overtime on the same days as these girls, you know. Being in HR, I noticed immediately. When I probed, they were all too happy to spill the beans. They couldn't wait to talk. Right, to a 24-year-old, 28 and 40 are all the same old hags. Mocking them, Alice's face turns red. Alice, with tears in her eyes, looked up at Tom with resentment and squeezed out her words. That's awful. I can't believe you were involved with others too. Tom, flustered and making excuses, said. No, it's not like that. You're the most important, Alice. You're my main one, the others were just for fun. Look, every guy needs a break, right? I'm kind to Alice because I relieve my stress with other women. You like it when I'm nice to you, right? It felt like a headache was coming on. Instead of making lame excuses, why can't he just apologize? As expected, Alice's expression turned furious. What kind of logic is that? Why are you getting mad? You're the one I treat the best. You should be happy about that. Who do you think you are? I never thought you were this kind of person. Alice cried out, looking like she might leap at Tom any second. I watched her with a detached gaze. What are you saying? It's precisely because he's this kind of person that he cheats without remorse. And has no sense of responsibility as a father. He even tried to get rid of our baby. Alice stopped crying and stared intently at me. Both of us were blind to the kind of man he is. Alice snapped at me, shut up. Don't lump me in with you. She turned back to Tom, biting back. You think you can put me through this and get away with it? That's my line. You're playing the victim. But you were in on the aromatherapy oil scheme, weren't you? I told Alice sternly. I've already reported it to the police. Both of you will be arrested for assault. Be prepared. Of course, I recorded all of your statements today as evidence. Tom looked at me, panic-stricken. Arrest? You'd report your own husband to the police? Doing that would make your baby's father a criminal. The hospital has a duty to report. I think the chief has already done so. Don't worry, I'll be divorcing you. After exchanging glances, Tom and Alice started frantically defending themselves. I had nothing to do with it. Tom was the one who planned and executed everything. Hey, it was Alice who said if I was fed up with my wife, I should use the aroma oil to make her sick and kick her out. Huh? You were the one who said you were tired of her but divorce was too tricky. And asked if I knew any good ways out. Coming up with the aroma oil was your idea. What a terrifying woman. Do you have a criminal record or something? The nerve. This is the worst. You said it was safe, and then you cheat and get caught so easily. I should have never gotten involved with you. As Alice wailed, Tom clicked his tongue. Annoying. Women think crying will get them out of anything. Stupid creatures. At that moment, someone rang the intercom. Yes, we've been expecting you. Please, come in. Taylor responded cheerily, and Tom asked suspiciously. The visitor? Yes, our boss. Alice abruptly stopped crying. Boss? I live-streamed your conversation with me and Alice to the company group chat. Then he decided to come over. Tom's face went pale. Naturally. The boss had acted as the mediator at our wedding. That's why Tom avoided divorce, not wanting to tarnish the boss's reputation. And tried to make me sick to send me back to my parents' house. Without paying any mind to the flustered Tom, Taylor invited the boss in. A while later, the boss appeared, his face filled with anger. Tom, with a forced smile, and Alice were told by the boss. Both of you will be transferred to the sidelines department starting tomorrow. That's not fair. I was just caught up in this. I was about to be promoted to section chief in the spring. Is my career advancement being delayed? The boss, veins throbbing on his temple, glared sharply at Tom. I had high hopes for you because of your diligent work. But to think you were such a person. I'm disappointed. Boss, it's all her fault. She got pregnant without my consent. The boss glanced coldly at Tom, with tears in his eyes, pleading. You're not just risking your promotion but also becoming a prime candidate for dismissal. If our performance worsens, you'll be the first to be kicked out of the company. Try your best. Tom's expression turned to one of despair as he was rebuffed. The boss then turned to me and bowed. I apologize for the trouble my subordinates have caused. We will take full responsibility. Please let us know if you need any testimonies or other assistance. I'm sorry for the inconvenience we've caused as well. I apologize to the boss. Tom and Alice were slumped on the floor, looking dejected. Did they think they could live peacefully after what they did to me? Their audacity astounded me. I'm going to start packing up to return to my parents' home with Taylor's help now. Send the divorce papers to my parents' house once you've signed them. I'll be seeking alimony and child support through a lawyer later. Tom weakly nodded in agreement. Taylor, the boss, and I then left Alice's apartment. The next day, Tom and Alice were arrested for assault, but were released a week later on suspended sentences as first-time offenders. They broke up soon after. They continued working in the sidelines department at the company, but resigned due to the cold treatment from other employees and rumors spreading throughout the office. I received alimony, so what became of the two of them afterward didn't concern me. Alice's whereabouts are unknown, but Tom, shunned by his parents-in-law, is barely getting by with multiple part-time jobs. According to Taylor, who I ran into in town, there was no trace of the man who once worked for a major corporation, just a miserable figure. My in-laws, who had been kind to me since we got married, came all the way from the countryside to apologize after hearing about the incident. I have no grudges against them. They were overjoyed when my daughter was born recently. I plan to bring my daughter to visit them during the holidays. If my daughter wishes to meet her father as she grows up, I'll consider arranging a meeting under certain conditions. Looking at my daughter's innocent smile, I pity Tom for saying he didn't want such a beautiful child. Motherhood is challenging, but feeling grateful to be this child's mother deepens with each passing day. Surrounded by people who love her, I want to warmly watch over her growth.